Fucking witch. Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review of the Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, or Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2, or whatever the fuck this fucking movie is called. This one came out in 2000. It is starring... What the fuck happened to my script? This is not the right... What? Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness, and welcome to my review of Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2. This one is starring Jeffrey Donovan, Kim Director, and Erica Learson, and was directed by Joe Berlinger. Wow. So, you know, I had heard things about this movie, and I had seen it when I was very young. This movie came out in 2000. I was born in 1999. So I was a very, 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 very young child when I saw this for the first time. I think I was just kind of looking at it in passing while my older siblings were actually watching the film. And I don't really remember anything about it except for it's probably one of the, deep-seated psychological reasons why I had a very, very heavy thing for goth women for a long time in my life. Who doesn't? But but other than that, I just don't remember anything about this movie until now, unfortunately, and I'm never going to be able to get it out of my head. Let me start with this. Number one, I know there are people who like this film, and if I will say this 1,000 times, if you enjoy this film, dude, fucking right on, man. Enjoy what you enjoy, like what you like, and be happy, brother, sister, whatever. That's what it's all about. All love, I don't get it. When it comes to this movie, I don't know what you're smoking, but hey, man, keep talking, because it's got to be some good shit, because, wow. So, I will start off with a positive, though, and this is definitely one of probably two positives I have. I appreciate what they were going for. I'll say that. I like the idea of this movie capitalizing on the mass hysteria that the Blair Witch Project caused. People thinking it was real, people traveling to Burkittsville and actually, walking around the woods and shit, and townspeople are all fucking mad and all this. And this movie it was a cultural phenomenon, dude. People were calling this the scariest fucking movie of all time. And it's definitely up there. It's a fucking frightening movie. And I like that this film and its characters are, all for their own reasons, but they're all affected by that movie. Number one, I like that the original Blair Witch Project is a film within this universe that this movie takes place in. I thought that was a really cool idea. I like when filmmakers take risks and do something different. I don't understand the execution, though, because this film starts off very well. You're interviewing the townspeople, much like the original, and then it just goes off the fucking deep end. Now, I'll say this. I'm not gonna sit here and complain, oh, the Blair Witch isn't in it. Or, oh, it's, why is it an actual movie? Why isn't it found footage? You hear people say shit about this movie all the time. And I'm not going to do that because I understand what they were going for. They wanted to take a risk, do something different. I like that. Execution was bad. So we get introduced to all our characters, and they're going on the Blair Witch hunt. And they all have their own, reasonings for doing so. You have Jeff, the guy who's, you know, making money off of it and trying to capitalize on all this hype that the Blair Witch has caused. Then you have Erica, who is the young Wiccan girl who is, you know, very peace loving and very of the earth, as Wiccan people tend to be. Who is not very happy with the Blair Witch Project, and she wants to prove that it's all bullshit and that, you know, Wiccans are very nice people. Kim, the goth chick, the edgy girl who just, you know, really liked the movie and how dark it was and all this shit. And then you get the skeptic characters in there too, and I don't remember their names. I'm not gonna bother looking it up. I only remember those three characters' names because they have the same names as their actor real life counterparts. So, you know, they all go to this shack, and what we see is these characters, or what we were supposed to see, is these characters slowly start to unravel and lose their minds as they're putting the pieces together because they got drunk and high and all this shit in the woods. Really shitty, like, Blair Witch Hunt. It's like this dude just took them out there to just party, essentially. It's like they get into the woods, they set up camp, they get fucked up, and then all their shit's gone or destroyed the next morning. Great hunt, man. So then they go to his weird house shack thing, and they're sifting through all the footage, and that's when they start to really unravel. And I do like the ambiguous nature of this movie, to where once the movie wraps up, very jarringly, you're kind of left wondering, did the Blair Witch fuck with these people? And did the curse of those woods, like, just get into their heads? Or is it just mass hysteria? And they're just, you know, they just fucking lost their minds. It is very reflective of the real life, you know, is it real, is it not real, of the original Blair Witch Project. So I do like that. Like I said, the intentions here were solid. One of the biggest problems of this movie, though, is studio interference. Studios, and we've talked about it multiple times on this fucking channel, people getting their meaty little fucking paws in there, and these Hollywood execs who don't know shit about fucking horror movies or nothing. All they know is how to fucking make money. And sometimes they're not even good at that. So, but they're just getting their meaty little fucking paws in there, and they're fucking with shit and telling them to do shit different, and just, they're not just letting the art unfold as it is. If the art had unfolded as it was, I still probably wouldn't have liked it. We'll get into that in a second. But I believe in an artist being able to express themselves freely. And that was not upheld here at all. And that's a shame. The biggest problem as far as the studio interference stuff is concerned is the edit. The edit is fucking bonkers. It honestly took me a little bit to really understand what the fuck was happening, because, you know, spoiler alert, Kim, Jeff, and the other dude who I can't remember his name, like I said, I'm not gonna bother to look it up, they end up killing a bunch of people. They kill another tour group that's out there. Kim kills a cashier, and all of this, you know, actually happened, but in their mind, you know, it happened differently, you know, and that's the Blair Witch fucking with you, which is a stretch, but whatever. And it was just those linear events, but what we get is they go into the woods. You know, then it cuts to him in prison, and they're interrogating him, and then we see that, you know, Kim's being interrogated, and the other fucking guy, and it just goes back and forth, and forwards and back and side to side, and yeah, it's like, what the fuck, dude? Be a movie. Do movie shit. Don't get me wrong. There's a good way to be a non-linear film. Look at fucking a good amount of Quentin Tarantino's work. But when you just pitter-patter shit on top of each other, and none of it makes sense. That's not good unlinear storytelling. That's just you switching shit up for the sake of switching shit up. And it's obvious, and it does not fucking work, and it hinders this movie horribly. You immediately can tell that they are guilty of something rather than it be just this huge twist at the end, which I can't imagine how it would have worked well anyways, but still, you lose that twist. It's obvious. And the story is just completely confusing and dumbfounding, and I had to take a break. Like, I had to, like, pause it halfway through and be like, what the fuck is happening right now? Absolutely insane. There's other stuff, too. You know, they switched the music in the beginning of the movie. It was supposed to be much more lighthearted, and they're like, no, you need to use Marilyn Manson. And they fucking, they added all this gore and shit because they wanted a more mass appeal, you know, horror movie, and it's just, none of it fucking works. None of the studio interference shit works. Once in a blue moon, they'll have a good idea. That's rare. My God. Just awful studio interference. I'm going to say some other bad shit about the film, but I will still sign that petition. I want to see a director's cut of this movie because I want to see what the original intent of this movie was. I want to see that original vision without all the meaty little greedy fucking studio hands getting their hands on it and all that shit. I want to see Book of Shadows in its entirety, how it was intended to be viewed. And I say Book of Shadows. There is no Book of Shadows. Anyone who critiques this movie will tell you that. It's another studio thing. It was just supposed to be called Blair Witch 2. And they're like, nope, it's got to be called Book of Shadows. They're like, why? They're like, we don't know. Figure it out. And they just didn't. So we have a movie called Book of Shadows where there is no Book of Shadows. Fucking A. But anyways, I would like to see that director's cut. That being said, if we ever do get that, I don't think I'll like it anymore because there's other stuff about this movie that I don't fucking like. And we'll just hit it with two main things. This is not going to be a total rundown of the story. I'm not going to do that here. But number one, I don't like doing this because I feel like, especially with horror films, it's always such a low hanging fruit. You know, you can just, there you go, there's your review. But with this, I really feel the need to highlight this as a negative problem. The acting in this movie is fucking atrocious. Pretty much across the board. It is fucking awful. I don't understand. I've heard people praise this movie's performances. I've heard some critics that I really admire and really respect their opinion. I don't always agree with them, obviously, but that's, that's neither here nor there. The point is, there are people who genuinely think there are good performances in this movie, and I don't understand it. Everyone in this movie does a pretty awful job. And again, I hate saying that. I know they open themselves up to a lot and they can get a lot of flack and shit, and I'm not trying to be that guy. But when you're following up a film that is known for its acting and its amazing performances, and you give people this, no. That is an acting problem, and that is a direction problem as well. Because there's no reason why a director should be able to sit in a chair, see the performances that these people give, and go, yeah, that's good. Unacceptable. Unfucking acceptable. And speaking of this movie being a follow-up to the Blair Witch Project, a year before, 1999. One of the things that the Blair Witch Project did so well was be fucking terrifying and be a genuinely scary movie. Scared the shit out of a lot of people. Still scares people to this day. I showed my fiance the Blair Witch Project and she got scared out of her fucking shoes. That movie just does that. So when you have the follow-up and it is not scary at fucking all in any way, shape, or form, I almost want to show my fiance. I love how she's just my gauge for whether something's scary or not to a casual horror reviewer. I'm sure she's not liking the guinea pig routine, but hey, I'll get a couple more out of her, I'm sure, before she catches on. But anyways, I'm curious to show her this just to see, because I know she won't get scared, because there's nothing in this movie that resembles horror one fucking bit. And the studio can fuck with the clips all they want. They can switch shit around all they want. But when there is not a single solitary bit of horror in this horror film, gotta call you on that shit, man. What the fuck? Terrible. Terrible as a horror movie. And really in general, I don't fucking like this movie at all. Let's get into the ending real quick, because the ending is pretty fucking hilarious. They kind of linearly, that's a word, right? We're making it a word, baby. They kind of wrap this up in a somewhat cohesive fashion of they all get arrested and, they're guilty of the murders of, A, B, and C. And I guess as an audience member, we're supposed to feel like, oh no, they're innocent and the Blair Witch did it? I guess. But then they are shown the footage and it is in fact them 100% killing these people. And as you saw in the intro, my poor acting job of another poor acting job when he pushes his, the rope's tied around his wife's neck and he pushes her off. And he just looks at the camera and goes, fucking witch. That's like one of the last scenes of the movie. And yeah, it is pretty eerie to see this woman just beg for her life while her husband's in this trance and he just hangs her. That is pretty fucking scary. I'll give them that. That is probably the one disturbing aspect of this film. But yeah, man, the last line of this movie is, he's freaking out and he's saying like, no, that tape was fucked with. They fucked with the tape. That's not real. And he's in total denial that he just killed his wife as she begged for her life. And the very last line is he goes, it's bullshit. And it cuts to black and you just hear him go, it's bullshit. And it cuts to black. And then the credits roll. And I was just like my jaw was on the fucking floor. I'm like, are you serious? That's the ending? What the fuck, man? And it's just such comedic, because you have that da-da-da-da fucking music. It's just, whoo-wee, man. I've reviewed some stinkers on this channel, but, my God, this might be one of the worst. Like I said, if you enjoy this movie, or you enjoy the idea of this movie, what this movie could have been, fucking go nuts, man. Watch this at every Halloween party you can. Fucking just have a ball with it. Watch it every week if you want to. If it's your favorite fucking horror movie of all time, good for you. I don't get it. No kill of the film section, because there's really no remarkable kills in this at all, which is another negative. There's gore in the movie, but it's all just close-up fucking gratuitous bullshit that has nothing really to do with the movie at all, because it was just splashed in there anyways. And yeah, man, that was my little 20 some odd minute rant on Book of Shadows. Not good. However, next week on Days of Darkness, we are going to be reviewing Blair Witch, which was the, I believe, 2016 sequel, which they just wiped Book of Shadows out of existence. Good. sequel to the Blair Witch Project, just titled Blair Witch. And I saw that while I was in high school with my folks, and I remember liking it pretty good. So we'll see how it holds up, and you're going to hear everything I have to say about it, and that will be next week on Days of Darkness. But until then, Daddy-O, I'm going to have to bid you guys adieu. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and keep watching horror. All right, guys. Have a good day.